Hey folks, welcome to video 2 of Build a Town with Us.
So Ryan's going to join me for the rest of this series, and this is kind of partially so we can build this together, and also because as a game master, once you've kind of gotten that basic overview, I think it's always great to ask your players for any ideas and input. This is a great way to tie in something with their backstory or maybe a bond. They might have a NPC or a location idea that you can then tie into your town.
It also just gives your players a sense of ownership for the world.
Thanks for all of your suggestions on what to name our town. We decided to go with Shearn, which was suggested by D&D.
Yeah, that was really cool. D&D also helped us figure out the name for the hot springs.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool.
In our first video, we did the town overview, and now we're going to be guiding you through kind of the prompts to ask yourself when creating the various key features or locations in your town.
All right, so the first feature that you talked about is that this town is really well known for its hot springs. We've got 5 prompts that we're going to be answering for every one of these key features. We'll take our time with the hot springs, and then we'll go a little bit quicker through the other 2 features this town is known for.
The first prompt is, where is it located and what is its name?
The hot springs are, first of all, they're named the hot wells, right? Like a well that is hot. And they are located sort of on the northern side of town. Some of those hot springs or the pools are located inside of the town walls, and some of them are outside of the town walls. The second prompt to think of is who owns or controls or supervises the town feature.
So we decided that the indoor pools are owned and operated kind of privately by various families and cater to the wealthier clientele, whereas the outside exterior pools aren't really owned by any one family. They're more owned by the town, and so they are much more open and available to the public. The third prompt is, what is the description? And make sure that you give a description for each of the 5 senses.
So kind of quickly through all of these, there are a lot of different pools, dozens of these different pools of different sizes. Some of the pools are only big enough for one person to be in, and some of the pools are big enough that there could be a dozen folks in them. And we really liked the idea that the pools are really brightly colored, bright blue, bright yellow or orange, and lots of different rings of color throughout them. Something to keep in mind as you answer all of these questions, like we were doing, is what are potential story hooks? Remember, this town is going to be where your players live, levels 1 through 5. So maybe the colors start changing or getting duller, and now you've got a story hook. As far as the sound is concerned, I love the idea that they're always like bubbling and sizzling, almost like an insect swarm sound. And so it means when you're at the pools, everyone has to talk a little bit louder to be heard, which again, there's some fun story hooks idea as far as overhearing a conversation or being overheard with the players. The smell is sort of this funky, easily recognizable smell of like mushrooms and patchouli. Some of you might love that. Some of you, like me, are going, oh, I don't know. But there's the smell. And as far as the taste is concerned, some of the water is bottled, not the bathing water. Some of the water is bottled and sold, and it's got a tingly flavor to it that's very sort of salty and umami. And lastly, there's the feel of it. The hot springs are very hot. They're around 102 degrees Fahrenheit or about 39 degrees C.
So like a nice hot shower.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll look a little bit like a lobster when you get out of there. The fourth thing to consider is what is the purpose or the need that the feature serves?
So this serves the purpose of kind of being the major tourist draw, the reason that other people travel to this specific location, because it's said to provide healing, slight aphrodisiac, and as well as just relaxing. And we were thinking, if you're taking like a short rest in the pools, maybe not having okay, the short rest becomes a long rest,
Yeah,
but you can use an extra hit dice or maybe regain one spell slot or used ability so that there's a slight healing factor of it, but it's not like fully magical. You were at 0 hit points and now you're at full health.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the last prompt is, what are the types of clientele? Who goes there?
Yeah, so again, the idea we have public and private pools. So the public pools, again, are owned by the town, and really anybody uses those. But they're certainly more accessible to, less wealthy or poorer travelers or poorer members of the town. The indoor pools, they've built a structure around that hot spring. Those are owned by individuals or by families, or even the mining company, maybe. They own one that the miners have access to. A big thanks to all of our patrons, but especially to Arvi. And if you like what we do and you want to be a part of this community, then head over to patreon.com and check out all of the perks and ways that you can join in too. So now we're going to go through the other two main features of this town, which is an obsidian mine and the nearby volcano. Now this one we're going to do a little bit quicker, and we've got a pop-up, so feel free to pause and write them down if you want to. So you wanted to start off with the obsidian mine.
Yes. So this is the Shearn Mining Company, that's what it's called. It's located on the northeast of the town walls, as well as there are some smaller mines where various people go and collect obsidian that's located on the ground. It's owned by the Ironside clan, which is a clan of dwarves, and the Snell family, which are gnomes. It is a detailed and intricately carved tunnel, so it's not like those rough hewn tunnels, but kind of more smooth. When you're in the mine, there's a lot of the sound of clinking of equipment, rumbling of carts 24/7. It's a very active mine. It's cold and damp when you first enter, but gets uncomfortably hot the deeper and deeper as you go into the mine, as you get closer to that kind of volcanic area. Walls are generally smooth, although there are some very sharp edges of obsidian, so potentially, if you're rushing through, you could get some cuts if you bump into some of the walls. The air just has this salty iron taste to it, as well as there's an acrid and musty smell from the various volcanic fumes that come up through the mine. While it's only 70 years old, it provides obsidian, which is a new revenue stream for the town. Dwarves, halflings, and gnomes are the main folks who work in the mine. It is a bit of difficult terrain for humans and larger folks because it's built for smaller people. And within the town, there are a number of smiths that make weapons, clergy who use the obsidian for idols, and then merchants will travel here to trade for obsidian from the mine. And the obsidian mine was a great idea from Arc Dragon Breath that we ended up fleshing out.
The volcano is named the Campfire Peak, and it's called that because at night the glowing pools and flows of lava kind of look like little campfires all over the mountain. And it's about a half a day's travel east to get to the real base of the mountain from the town. Now, that's not to get all the way to the top of it. Nobody owns or controls the mountain, but there are rumors of a creature that lives at the heart of the volcano and protects the mountain. Story hook for later. It has very steep slopes and sides that go up towards the caved-in caldera at the top of the mountain. When you're near those pools and lava flows, they hiss and crackle and sort of roar, and so there's a lot of nice aural input there for you. I really like the idea that, tactile wise, the rocks are very jagged and there's a lot of this sharp obsidian. So it is difficult terrain, and pack animals and horses can't make it up there. Plus, traveling up the mountain, mundane, non-magical gloves and boots, it'll actually tear them up one pair every day. So you got to plan on that. And if you're rushing, if you're doing hurried travel, it'll actually impose damage. The air is sort of smoky and ashy feel in the mouth, and there's a burning sulfurous smell anytime you're around the pools of lava. The purpose that it serves, right, is that the lava hardens into all of the obsidian and helps to heat the hot springs. There are Yeti-like creatures that live higher up the mountain. They mostly keep to themselves, and they don't really cause much trouble as long as they don't feel disturbed or threatened. And also sometimes scholars or religious zealots will venture out into the mountain to do their own research.
So as you can see from these 2 additional examples, these prompts give you kind of questions to ask yourself that you can fill in for as many features within the town that you want. I think it's good to have a few kind of key features definitely fleshed out, and then maybe some lesser, smaller things, like we'll probably flesh out a couple of shops and maybe like a healer's retreat as well to put into our kind of setting packet.
Yeah. And a tiny town might only have 1 key feature. A big city could have 5 or 6. If you're really interested in making those cool and memorable shops and shopkeepers, check out our video exactly on that.
All right, so in the next video, we are going to be fleshing out the key NPCs in the town. Some of these might be related to these key locations. Some of them might not. And we would love to have some input from you folks. So if you can provide us with some names and the occupation of the individual to kind of spark some ideas, leave those in the comments below.
And don't forget to follow us on social media and give us your ideas there as well. We're having a blast building this town with you, so thanks to everybody who contributes. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Until next time, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Dawn.
And this is Roll for Initiative.
Bye.
Bye.
And name it Shearn. Shearn. Shearn?
Well, let's do that again and figure out how to say it. I've been saying Shearn.
Shearn.
As in like sheer.
Shearn. Yes.
All right. Well, there's the outtake.